excited to share this because, before I implemented a lot of this, I was relaxed and disciplined to stick to it, right? That's practice, that discipline. It has a crucial role to play if you want to improve and you want to grow as a person. The more you know, the more you realize you do not know. Hey guys, welcome to this episode of Beyond Boundaries podcast. I am your host, Amaka. Hi. And if you're someone like me who is curious to learn more about themselves, who is on a self-improvement journey, someone who is interested in creating a life that is more aligned and a life that is more authentic, then this episode is for you. Today, I'm going to be sharing 5 habits that are powerful for anyone in a self-improvement journey. I really think if you can have a routine that gives you the time and gives you the space to think about the things you want and why you want them, then that is the most important way that you are going to make a long-lasting change in your life, right? Some of these habits that I'm going to be telling you about today would be habits that you've heard about before. They may not be necessarily new to you. Some of them might just be interesting, you may not have thought about them in terms of being a habit or including them in your routine. And I'm just really excited to share this because, before I implemented a lot of this, I was relaxed and disciplined when it came to my self-improvement journey, right? So what I mean is sometimes I would feel really grounded and connected to myself, and other times I wouldn't. So these habits that I want to share, they have really worked well for me and they are still working well for me. You might listen and choose to adopt a handful of them, or maybe just one will stick out to you. But this is not a perfect list. It has just been what has worked for me over a period of time. And I really hope that, some of them will just inspire you. First habit that I think has been indispensable for my self-improvement journey is movement. So I'm not necessarily talking about going to the gym every single day of the week, right? I am just talking about moving, moving your body every single day. There is something beautiful about being in that mind-body connection, For me, it is just like a flexible routine throughout my week. I have a gym program that I do, but then I mix that up with walking and yoga. Now, aside the fact that it makes you feel really good afterwards, it helps in terms of telling yourself that you're going to stick to something, right? You tell yourself that, I'm going to do this thing, and then you stick to it, you show up for yourself and you stick to it, right? That's practice, that discipline. It has a crucial role to play if you want to improve and you want to grow as a person. Having that foundation of a person, knowing you can do things and sticking to them, it is very key in terms of growth. So guys, the second habit is for anyone that is like me, someone who likes to be very organized in form of lists like to-do lists, calendars, things like that. Having lists actually helps you organize your thoughts, your time, and it is really very important, right? So I used to be a pen and paper kind of girl, an old school girl. I write down things I want to do. But then since I have moved up into planning ahead more, planning quarterly, planning yearly, it has been almost impossible to keep track on it on paper, right? So now I just use the notes app on my iPhone, really simple app on the iPhone. So this habit in itself, it helps me be organized, and that is very important for my self-improvement journey. The third habit that is really powerful in my self-improvement journey is constantly learning, right? So I feel like once you start the self-improvement journey, this old saying makes sense. The more you know, the more you realize you do not know. I like to think that is true, right? Learning about ourselves and becoming better as a person is a lifelong pursuit. You never get to a stage where you are done. You feel like you've accomplished everything there is to learn about yourself. I don't think we ever get there, right? So being engaged in constant education, which you are probably already doing listening to this podcast, but through podcasts, through books, through interesting articles, through documentaries, whatever just gets you, whatever you find interesting, whatever gets you thinking, whatever just, ticks your brain, having it as a habit, it helps you. The fourth habit is being clear on your priorities. And I want to talk about it in the context of having spare time and have actually, filling it up mindfully rather than doing anything you just feel like doing. So we have needs, right? We have needs like health, we have needs like relationship fulfillment and just stuff like that. And then we have wants that, things that are just nice to have, but they are just bonus value. They are not a need, they are just something you want. So let's have a practical example, right? Let's use relationship for a case study, a romantic relationship. With my partner, I have non-negotiables, things that are not, something, they are just non-negotiables. So something I can talk about that will be relatable would be, our phone calls that we have every morning. We talk about our day, a rundown of our day, and then we hold ourselves accountable at the end of it. Now, for the ones, I ask my partner to send me pictures of whatever food he eats, whatever fruits, whatever things he takes into his mouth. If the practice, makes me feel like I'm part of his day, right? It is not a need. I can go without it, but it is just a want. It is something I feel like we should put into our relationship. It makes me feel like I am a part of his life, and then he does it because it makes me happy. He doesn't need to, but he does it because it makes me happy. So I hope we get the difference between a want and a need priority. So guys, the last habit that we are going to be talking about today is flexibility, right? So I'm going to spend time on this habit because this habit surprised me. I used to be very rigid in my routine. Once I write down something, once I have a routine, once I have a list, I have to follow through. I have to go A to B to C. I have to go the way I wrote it down. But this flexibility habit has actually helped my self-improvement journey, because you can have the perfect routine or a list of habits, but if you don't have, an element of flexibility, then it is virtually impossible for you to move with the flow of life, right? Because life happens, right? And if you really want to round up that and do all of your routines in a certain way, it does not allow for the chaos of life. Having flexibility as a habit, it means that you could wake up one morning and what's on your list is to go to the gym, but then you wake up and you're feeling emotionally drained, you're feeling like you're feeling tired, you've not had enough rest. You could opt out to do something more subtle, like meditation, or you could take a walk and just do things very subtle, do things that you didn't plan for, right? And it just doesn't apply to this. It could literally be about anything, and that is why it is essential to have two priority lists, because you can see when something is a non-negotiable, you can see when something is a want, you can see when something needs to be switched in between, you can see when a non-negotiable needs to be a little bit more flexible, right? And then if you can start thinking about flexibility in terms of your routine, then it is a really powerful tool, right? And then it makes sure that you are not a slave to your rigid routines. So guys, these are the 5 habits that I feel have been very incredible for my self-improvement journey. They are the habits that I am currently adopting, and they've been working for me so far. And guys, I would love to hear if you are currently thinking about some of the things I listed, or maybe you already have them in your routine, or maybe there are other habits that I haven't spoken about but you would love to share. Guys, then please drop them in the comments below. Do not forget to hit the subscribe button and the bell notification, so that you don't miss any of our new videos that are coming up out, right? Thank you guys for tuning into this episode, and I cannot wait for the next one. Until then, break boundaries. Bye guys.